What if the person you can't stop thinking about isn't a mistake, but a mirror? What if their constant presence in your mind is not a sign of weakness or failure, but a quiet invitation, one your heart has been waiting to answer? There's a reason their image lingers in your dreams, their voice echoes in your silence, and their memory surfaces when you least expect it. It's not random. It's not meaningless. In the stillness beneath your thoughts, there is a message, one that doesn't shout, but whispers. In this first part, we won't try to silence the mind or push anyone away. Instead, we'll pause and listen. Together, we'll explore why certain people take up space within you and what that reveals about your inner life. From the Buddhist perspective, these persistent thoughts are not problems to eliminate, but sacred signals. They arise because something within you wants to be seen, healed, or transformed. Let's begin not by turning away, but by turning toward the mind's quiet call, with curiosity, with honesty, and with the gentle courage to see what lies beneath the surface. Persistent thoughts are invitations for inner understanding. It's not about asking, why can't I forget them? But what am I being called to learn through this? What if the thoughts you keep trying to silence are not problems, but messengers? There comes a moment when you realize that pushing someone out of your mind takes more effort than simply understanding why they are there. You try to distract yourself. You tell your mind to stop. You repeat, let it go, move on, forget. But the thought returns, quietly, persistently, like a tide that knows the way home. From a Buddhist perspective, this isn't failure. It's not obsession. It's not weakness. It's the mind doing what it was made to do, searching for completion, integration, and peace. And the more we fight it, the more we delay the healing it longs to offer. What if the thought is not asking to be banished, but to be heard? When a certain person keeps reappearing in your thoughts, it is often a sign that something within you is unresolved. Not necessarily about them, but about you. A part of you may be asking to be seen, to be held, to be acknowledged. That part uses memory as a bridge. It wears the face of another to get your attention. And once you listen, once you really pause and ask, what is this trying to show me? Something shifts. Suddenly, what once felt like torment becomes a thread of wisdom. The mind's repetition becomes the soul's quiet insistence. There is something here for you. The Buddhist path does not begin with resisting what arises. It begins with turning toward it, gently and honestly. You do not have to solve the thought or analyze it to death. You only need to sit with it, to breathe with it, to allow it to reveal what it carries. Sometimes, the thought fades once its message has been received. Other times, it becomes less heavy, less sharp, less defining, no longer a wound, but a scar with a story. Either way, it no longer controls you. So the next time that thought returns, don't turn away. Turn toward, not with fear, but with quiet curiosity. Ask it what it's trying to teach you. Listen closely. You might find that it came bearing not pain, but peace. 7 Buddhist reasons why someone may occupy your mind. Includes karmic entanglement, emotional attachment, unprocessed feelings, and disowned inner shadows. When someone won't leave your thoughts, it's tempting to think something's wrong. You wonder if you're broken, obsessed, weak. But Buddhism offers a gentler, wiser view. Perhaps this person is still in your mind because a deeper part of you is still in conversation with them. According to Buddhist insight, There are 7 common reasons why a person may take up residence in your awareness. Each one reveals something not just about your relationship with them, but about your relationship with yourself. The first reason is attachment disguised as love. Sometimes we confuse grasping with care. When the thought of someone brings tightness, desperation, or a sense of incompleteness, it may not be love. It may be a craving for security, approval, or control. The second is unprocessed emotion. If a connection ended suddenly or left something unsaid, grief, anger, guilt, your mind may be calling the person back in an effort to finish what was left undone. The third is karmic entanglement. Some relationships feel charged from the start. They stir something deep, as if they arrived with a purpose. When a thought lingers because the lesson is unfinished, the mind holds on until wisdom is revealed. The fourth is shadow projection. We often fixate on people who reflect parts of ourselves we've rejected. The trait that bothers or captivates you in them may be one you haven't yet accepted in yourself. The fifth is attachment to outcome. Your mind replays scenarios because it's still waiting for a different ending, an apology, a reunion, a sense of closure. Peace comes when you stop tying your healing to a specific result. The sixth is spiritual magnetism. Some people enter our lives to mirror qualities our soul is longing to embody. They may represent a version of ourselves we're growing into, or a truth we haven't yet dared to live. And the seventh, the most subtle, is what Buddhism calls an emptiness teaching. Sometimes, thoughts of someone return to remind you that there is no separate self or other, only a web of causes and conditions flowing through consciousness. These 7 reasons are not problems to solve, but doorways to deeper knowing. Once the message is received, the messenger often leaves. But even if they remain a while longer, the burden lessens, because now you're listening with wisdom, not resistance. Instead of resisting thoughts, explore them with compassion. Develop curiosity without judgment to uncover the messages your mind is trying to share with you. When a certain thought keeps returning, especially about someone we wish we could forget, the first instinct is to fight it. Not this again. We sigh. We try to distract ourselves, bury the thought, or scold our minds into silence. But the more we resist, the stronger it returns. Buddhism offers a gentler way. Instead of pushing the thought away, turn toward it. Not with fear, not with judgment, but with curiosity and compassion. The next time that familiar face arises in your mind, don't ask, "Why am I still thinking about them?" Ask instead, "What is this thought trying to show me?" Pause. Feel. Notice what arises. Not the storyline, but the energy underneath it. Is it grief, regret, longing, shame? Often the thought is not the source of pain. It's the doorway to something deeper your heart hasn't fully met. And here's the practice. Rather than analyzing the story or chasing the memory, shift your attention to the body. Notice where the emotion lives. Is your chest tight? Is there a hollow ache in your belly? A heat behind your eyes? Breathe there, gently, tenderly, as if holding a child who has been crying for a long time. This is not indulgence. This is presence. Buddhist teachings remind us that what we resist persists, but what we meet with awareness begins to shift. When emotions are allowed to fully arise without judgment, they naturally move and dissolve, like a wave returning to the ocean. Sometimes what you need isn't a reason, but a safe space to feel. The thought will still come. But now, Instead of being a trigger for suffering, it becomes an opportunity for healing. You begin to see that your struggle wasn't with the person or even the memory, but with the unacknowledged part of yourself that was asking to be seen. So the next time the thought arises, try this. Pause. Breathe. Feel. Say inwardly, "You are welcome here. I'm listening now." And in that quiet presence, you might discover that the thought has less power, not because it vanished, but because it was finally heard. Viewing the situation. Through impermanence and interdependence, neither you nor the other person is who you once were. Understanding this helps soften attachment. We often hold on to someone in our mind as if they are frozen in time, unchanged, solid, permanent. We replay old memories, relive past conversations, or imagine what might have been, all while assuming that both they and we are exactly who we were back then. But Buddhist wisdom gently reminds us, nothing stays the same. Everything is in constant motion. Just as rivers flow and seasons shift, so too do people, relationships, and the emotions tied to them. The person you keep thinking about is no longer the same person you knew, and you too have changed in ways you may not fully realize. This truth is called impermanence, anicca. It's not meant to make us sad, but to set us free. When you begin to see that your thoughts are clinging to a moment that no longer exists, you create space between memory and reality. The sharpness softens, the grip loosens, but there's more. Buddhism also speaks of interdependence, the understanding that nothing and no one exists independently. We are all shaped by countless causes and conditions: family, culture, past choices, unknown circumstances. The person who hurt you or touched your heart didn't arise in a vacuum, nor did you. Your meeting was the result of many streams converging at once. This insight helps dissolve rigid stories like, "They should have known better," or "It's all my fault." It opens the door to compassion for them and for yourself. Because when we see ourselves and others as part of a vast web of conditions, we stop demanding perfection and start understanding complexity. So when thoughts of someone arise, pause and ask, am I holding on to a fixed version of them, of myself? Then breathe into the truth that everything changes, everyone evolves. Even pain is not permanent. This perspective doesn't erase the past, but it transforms how you carry it. You stop clinging to what was and begin resting in what is. And from that space of clarity, healing can unfold. Not because you forced it, but because you finally let things be as they are. Impermanent, interconnected, and beautifully beyond your full control. Thoughts are messengers, not your identity. The presence of thoughts doesn't define who you are. They reflect the mind's natural attempt to heal. It's easy to believe that the thoughts repeating in your mind define you. I must be obsessed. I'm weak for still thinking about them. Why can't I move on? These beliefs quietly shape your inner narrative, making you feel broken or stuck. But Buddhist wisdom offers a gentle, liberating reminder. Your thoughts are not who you are. They are like ripples across the surface of a pond, temporary, shifting, responding to unseen winds. They arise due to causes and conditions, and they pass when those conditions change. Just because a thought is loud or persistent doesn't mean it's true, and it certainly doesn't mean it belongs to you. When a particular person keeps returning in your thoughts, it doesn't necessarily mean you're obsessed or lost. More often, it means something within you is seeking resolution, understanding, or healing. The mind, like the body, has its own wisdom. It brings forward what needs attention. In this light, thoughts become messengers, not masters. They come bearing signals. This pain hasn't been seen yet. There's a lesson here. Something inside is asking for kindness. And once their message is received, they often fade on their own, having served their purpose. But when we treat thoughts as personal failings or flaws, we strengthen them. The more we fight or judge them, the more tightly they cling. Freedom doesn't come from suppression, it comes from recognition. When you can say, "This is just a thought, not my truth," something powerful shifts. Try this. The next time that person appears in your mind, instead of reacting with guilt or frustration, pause. Gently say to yourself, "This is a messenger. Let me listen." What does it point to? An old wound, a desire for closure, a need for self-worth. Whatever it is, meet it with presence. Not analysis, not judgment, but quiet attention. You are not the thought. You are the awareness that sees the thought. And that awareness is vast, steady, and unbroken, no matter how many times the same thought returns. So let the thoughts come, and let them go. Just don't mistake their presence for your identity. They are only passing through, like birds across the sky. And you are the sky itself. Sometimes, the thoughts we try hardest to silence are the ones that hold the key to our freedom. They are not here to torment us, but to wake us, to lead us inward, towards something we have not yet understood, not yet felt, not yet forgiven. This is not about clinging to the past, nor is it about rushing to forget. It's about learning to sit quietly beside what is unresolved and to meet it not with resistance, but with awareness. Through Buddhist wisdom, we discover that the people who stay in our minds are not always there to stay in our lives. They are there to help us see what is waiting to be healed within. And often, when that healing begins, the thoughts soften naturally, like mist lifting from the morning field. So don't be discouraged if a face still lingers, if a memory still knocks at the door. Instead, listen, ask gently, "What are you trying to show me?" In doing so, you shift from struggling with your mind to walking alongside it, with tenderness, with honesty, and with the quiet strength that comes from knowing. This too is part of the path.